The guardian stepped out of the shrine. The earth trembled beneath its feet. Its body was wrapped in ancient white cloth stained with red earth. Its eyes burned like fire inside a dark cave. But it was the face that terrified Chief Oduma, because the guardian wore the face of Obina, his younger brother. The brother who had died 20 years earlier. The brother who had died 20 years earlier. The brother whose body Chief Oduma himself had buried. Chief Oduma collapsed to his knees. No. His voice trembled. No, this cannot be. The guardian pointed at him. Its voice rolled across the village like thunder. You remember me. The villagers looked from the spirit to their chief. Nobody understood. Adana held her father's arm. Father, who is he? Chief Oduma could not answer. His lips shook. His eyes filled with tears. And for the first time in his life, the proud chief looked like a frightened child. The feather-crowned spirit spoke. Tell the truth before the living and the dead. Chief Oduma buried his face in his hands. For many years he had hidden his secret. For many years he had worn the crown of leadership. For many years he had judged others. But now the ancestors themselves stood before him. There was nowhere left to hide. At last, he spoke. 20 years ago, my brother and I entered the shrine. The villagers gasped. He continued. We were poor. We wanted the sacred treasures. Obina, his younger brother, had warned him. Let us leave. The shrine is not ours. But Oduma had refused. The brothers argued. In anger, Oduma pushed him. Obina fell. His head struck a stone, and he died. Fear entered Oduma's heart. Instead of telling the truth, he buried his brother secretly. Then he spread the story that Obina had disappeared in the forest. Years later, he became chief, and nobody ever learned the truth. Until now. Adana stepped away from her father. Tears filled her eyes. You killed your own brother? Chief Oduma began crying. I wanted power. I wanted wealth. And the spirits allowed me to carry my guilt all these years. The villagers stood speechless. The man they had respected had built his throne upon lies.
Meanwhile, poor Nkechi still knelt beside her mother. Her own crimes suddenly seemed small beside the chief's, yet the spirits remained silent. Because guilt is not measured by wealth. A poor thief and a rich thief both answer to the truth. The guardian raised its hand. The shrine doors opened wider. Darkness poured out like smoke. The deep voice echoed again. One shall enter. The entire village trembled. Everyone expected Chief Oduma to run. But something inside him finally broke. For the first time in 20 years, he stood honestly. He removed his chief's crown. He placed it on the ground. Then he looked at Nkechi. You stole because of hunger. I stole because of greed. My sin is greater. Adana cried, Father, no! But Chief Oduma shook his head. The debt is mine. He walked toward the shrine. Each step felt like the end of a lifetime. Before entering, he turned toward the villagers. I was supposed to protect this village. Instead, I protected myself. Then he looked at his daughter. Never let pride make you cruel. Finally, he faced Nkechi.
Forgive me for the suffering I ignored. And he entered the darkness. The doors closed. Silence covered Umadara. Minutes passed. No one moved. No one breathed. Then suddenly, the shrine began to shake. A bright light burst through the cracks. The ground trembled. The spirits raised their hands. The guardian disappeared. The feather-crowned woman smiled. And when the shrine doors opened again, Chief Oduma walked out. But he was no longer the same. His hair had turned completely white. His face looked 20 years older. The pride in his eyes had vanished. He fell to the ground. The dead have forgiven me. The guardian's voice echoed one final time. Truth is the only offering the dead accept. The ancestral spirits slowly faded. The wind returned. The stars appeared. And the long night finally ended. At sunrise, Dibia Nwozu gathered the villagers. Chief Oduma stood before everyone. He removed his title. He surrendered his wealth to the village. Part of his land was given to widows. Part was given to poor families. And part was used to repair the shrine. Adana changed as well. The girl who once mocked the poor began helping the sick. She personally cared for Nkechi's mother. As for Nkechi, she returned every piece of gold. The spirits never harmed her again. Instead, the villagers helped her family. Food was brought to their home. Her mother received care. And for the first time in many years, hope entered their lives. Months later, Chief Oduma left the village to live alone beside his brother's grave. Every morning he swept the path leading to the shrine. Every evening he prayed, not for power, not for wealth, but for forgiveness. Years later, children would gather around evening fires to hear the story of the poor girl who stole from the shrine, the chief who buried the truth, and the night the dead returned to demand justice. The elders would always end with these words: poverty may tempt a person to do wrong, but greed destroys the soul.